creator who plays through some story games. And hello everyone, I'm Namek. I'm a variety streamer and creator who plays through some story games and in general a lot of random games. My biggest focus is really just to have some fun and to share the stuff I enjoy while creating a community that can support each other. I've always loved playing games, and back in 2019 I started streaming and recording videos. And if you've been around for a while, you may be going, but wait, I thought you started during the pandemic. You'd also be correct, because technically, I've started twice. In 2019, I started to stream and record my Starbound series. I was going to record it, so I figured I might as well try and stream it on this new service that I found called Twitch. At this point, I didn't really have any plans. I was just going to make this series and have some fun with it. That's about it. No grand plans, really. But then the pandemic hit, and I ran out of content to watch on YouTube. You know, the infinite source well of content. I managed to run it dry. And so I started watching the Oxcast over on Twitch. I had some good fun with that. Because I was watching them on YouTube, and I knew they were on Twitch. And from there, I found other streamers because of raids and such. And I made a lot of new friends. Because the smaller the group, the easier it was to talk amongst each other. Well, after meeting so many people, especially other people who were trying streaming for the first time or just trying new things during the pandemic, it gave me a lot of inspiration to really try streaming a bit more routinely. And that's when I started streaming Metal Arms: Glitch in the System. One of my favorite games in the world. Absolutely love it. It's been an amazing game to play. And I really just wanted to be able to share it with other people while having a good bit of fun. Along with streaming, I was also working on my other hobbies, namely editing the VODs into actual videos for a Metal Arms series on my YouTube channel, and working on my game projects. Speaking of which, if you want, I'd highly love if you checked out Phantom Asteroids on Google Play. It is the one game I have released as of now. And I also have been working on my art, which, since I've started, has gotten really dang good, and I'm very happy. But to wrap this up, I hope you all enjoy my content, whether it's my edited videos, my streams, the VODs, the games I've made, or just the art or other projects I've made. Hello and welcome everybody to another stream of Gems of War. Been a little while since I've been busy with other things and then attempted to do a schedule and then failed at that, and we are back on track and we are gonna do the guild event. It's only the unnamed, doesn't really have its own, or in some sense very much named, considering every time it shows up it has a different name, but it's the unthemed one, it seems. Excuse me. And yeah, the Fey aren't, or Bright Forest isn't too bad. I was expecting it to be Fey generically, but sadly it is not the case. It was just Bright Forest, because what I originally wanted to do was pretty much the same team I am using now, except for I wanted to use Alder Branch or something, I can't remember the name, because he allows me to do skull busting, which would have been so much fun. But this is the team I am going to be using. It's going to be King Oberon, Fernez, Unog, and Queen Titanium. Nice, simple team that... Ah yes, I should equip the tokens, get a bag, And also before, really. That should... Oh, it didn't actually give me a token badge. Usually by this point, we've got enough points that I can get a second badge. But yeah, we're just gonna have a nice simple time. It will probably be a decently short stream, as I only have so many tokens. Adjusting it a little by little. And boom. Yeah, it has been quite a busy time. At least homework and the such have been keeping me busy. I do have a midterm this week, but I've already started keeping up on my routines and stuff. While I didn't do any homework today, I say as I say, I was keeping up on routines. I was at least attempting to keep up on routines. But didn't do any homework today, unfortunately. Wasn't even too busy at work. It was just the case of had 1,000,001 other things I was trying to get done, and I at least got most of those other things done, so I am happy with that, but definitely wish I could have gotten some of the homework done, especially since the rest of the week is going to be decently busy. I have to actually go out and shop for food. You know, my buying for 3 months worth of food, you know, is run dry. It's not actually that long, but compared to like how much I get and then how quickly I eat it, it definitely takes me a while to get through all the food I get. But it is also just kind of the case of like, don't need to eat the food that quickly. Like no good colors. I have to go into town for that. That means part of my day is gonna actually be busy. Trying to think though. Oh yeah, I forgot to do any of their traits. I might actually have to do that. Or at the very least, get King Oberon. It's just the extra. Okay, looks like I can just do one and then grab the others. So tomorrow's going to be a bit busy. I should still have time for the StarCraft stream. And then I will be doing a good bit of homework. I may even get some homework done in the morning, which would be quite nice. Because this means I get more stuff done in the morning, rather than once I get home and I feel like I'm done for the day and I don't have to worry about anything. I've also been having some good fun with Fallout 76, but also it is a wonderful time sink because it's a good old-fashioned case of I'm enjoying this. I'm having a lot of fun. There's a lot of repeatable things to do that just take up so much time for the very simple fact of I'm having fun and I've done at least most of the things that I've needed to do for the day, and as such I am now enjoying my time. Like I've been having a good time with that. Definitely been needing to do more projects and more other stuff, but it's kind of always that thing of like I've got most of the things I need done, and then I start relaxing and I do not finish the rest of the things that I need done. Nice. But slowly getting back on track with that. I'm trying to think. What else? What else? That was very lucky. Quite the lucky starting thing. And think what else. I've been having a lot of fun with 76. Mainly, I've been doing a lot of spreadsheets. That's really where I get a lot of my fun from, is just math and theory crafting. And just going, ooh, what about this? Ooh, what about that? Ooh, what about this? And there's been a few cases, because despite how much I love doing it, I make a lot of mistakes when it comes to well, just doing calculations and such. Because I just, whether it's a simplification issue or a misunderstanding of how the different things apply, or being over generous when it's only up some of the time, or being not generous enough for the same reasons. It can be very easy for me to get calculations wrong. And it's kind of funny because of the fact that, yeah, that's pretty good. There's been some weapons or some perks or some things that have been like, oh yeah, this is amazing, needs to be in everything, and then I mess around with it a little bit more, test it a bit more, and go, oh, this ain't worth anything. Or the inverse, I go, this thing is terrible. And then I mess around with it a little bit, find like, this is actually really good with XYZ thing. And then I mess around with it with the XYZ thing and go, eh. Honestly, though, that's kind of been how I had a really nice Gatling laser, and I still have it because it's still really nice. And then I used a bunch of legendary script to be able to get pretty much a set of powered armor. So that way I had a lot of VATS regen and could basically just stay in VATS and just blitz enemies down with a ton of laser power. However, I quickly found, like, it was great. It was really effective. However, just kind of had a reoccurring issue, and that issue was called, I was crunchy because I wasn't in power armor, I was just in normal armor, which is not great. And two, it was good, and it could mow down enemies. This one's gonna go forever. Oh no, this is a short one. And I could mow down enemies. However, I realized as soon as I got to like anything boss-like, it wasn't really that quick, and it wasn't quick enough to be able to actually kill them before they killed me because of my newfound crunchiness. So I was like, okay, we're gonna have to try and fix that. Yeah, let's do a major. So, because there was a few times where I tried to fight a Deathclaw, and usually I have no issue with Deathclaws. But partly because I usually am in power armor. But without power armor, the laser Gatling just wasn't doing enough damage, or like enough DPS to actually mow through it, before it got to me like it could otherwise with power armor. So it's just a case of like, okay, it's good, but it's not good enough for like big boss damage. Like it's fine versus the Scorch Beast Queen or the Mine boss, where there's going to be a lot of sustained DPS, and it's quite nice for hordes of enemies as long as I keep it wound up. But that's the other thing as well. The wind up is quite annoying. Just due to the fact that just due to the fact that its best use case is swarms of enemies. However, swarms of enemies also have a tendency to get killed off really quickly. So it's the case of like, yay, lots of enemies, and they're already killed before I can spool up the weapon, and as such, it wasn't very useful. Ooh, that looked good. And so it's just kind of the case of like, you know what, I want my durability back, and that means I can't really have my VATS build weapons. I put those back on display. And then also just switch back to the missile launcher. I do about like 10k DPS, probably closer to 8k DPS due to fire rate and reload. But it's like, this is the best thing I can ever do. Like the damage of missiles with an explosive build, anti-glowing one, adrenaline, there tends to be a lot of small enemies with any of the big enemies I've noticed, except for Deathclaws. In that case, it doesn't matter. And just like, I've managed to be able to get a lot of just big, massive hits. And part of it is because it's a two-shot, which two-shot on explosives, both mini nuke and missile launcher, are insane for the very simple reason of how the damage works for explosives or in two-shot is that like two-shot is meant to make it so you shoot an extra projectile, but the damage is split between both projectiles, and you do 75% more damage. So, you know, it's not like a full double damage, but it's also not nothing, you know, kind of thing. And so, you know, that works for most weapons. In some cases, it's still a damage boost, because either way, it'll always be like a 75% damage increase or so. But with missiles and Fatmans, or yeah, missiles and mini nukes, that only applies, or the damage splitting only applies to the physical impact. The explosion is just a base value that like is increased or not, you know, kind of thing. So it's the case of like the missiles gain that 75% bonus damage, and that's it. Like, they don't worry about the fact that they're supposed to split the damage or anything like that. They're just like, ah, sweet, 75% more damage. Nice and simple. Which then in turn just means a whole heck of a lot of damage. The only downside is if you shoot too close to yourself, you do blow yourself up, and that there's like nothing around it, because even with the fireproof perk, and even probably the big yawns.
even with the fireproof perk and the probably even the legendary explosive mods, probably would not be enough. Considering, keep this in mind, I'm doing about 10k points of damage on an explosive hit. Even with the next big patch in March, I think it was, like early March, that's supposed to reduce self damage by 90%, aka you won't necessarily explode by shooting something too close. That's only reducing it by 90%. Well, keep in mind, on average, I tend to run about 500 health. This is usually just due to endurance buffs from foods and stuff, and then health buffs and, a handful of different things. And so I'm only about at 500 health, usually. With exceptions, but for the most part, 500 health. I am doing 10,000 points of damage with the missiles. Even at 10% of the damage back to me, that's still 1,000 points of damage. To the point where it's like, yes, the 90% will be quite, that's not going to do that much. However, this is also this is post armor, because it's how much damage I'm seeing. And honestly, most of the enemies have about the same amount of health I do. Granted, or not health, same about armor. However, I do have something they don't, which is power armor, just going like, I reduce the damage by like half before it gets to me. That at least will help a lot. Like that'll help. Nice. So it's like that'll help out, and then my fireproof, which will be named something else, which hell. So it's a case of like I probably will be able to survive, but it's definitely going to be way closer than what it should be. But it also means I could potentially go cowabunga right to enemy. It's just like, hello enemies, go. Actually did that with one of the bounty hunts or head hunts recently. There was a bunch of us trying to take down this one dude, and he did bleed damage. And if you don't know how the different damage things work in Fallout 76, that's fair. I'm streaming Gems of War. If you're watching Gems of War, you probably don't know too much about Fallout 76. Probably. I had to guess. Because I just have a feeling not as many people play way too many games. I think most people probably play a reasonable amount of games. Where is the gun? Oh yeah, bleed. But bleed ignores armor. So it's just pure damage. Like that's the simple truth of it kind of thing. However, there's a slight issue with that. Because at some point you just get, if you don't have anything that can mitigate it, if the damage is high enough, it will just destroy the character. And with my about 500 health, I was dying in about 3 ticks of it. Which means it was doing like a 160, 170-ish DPS just from the bleed, if not a little bit more. Which, even if I slammed stim packs, it was not solving the issue. So, and everyone else was having the same exact trouble I was. They would, especially because they were actually actively trying to help each other and me. And so it would be the case they'd try and go help one of us, get shot, sometimes even manage to help one of us, then get downed, and then we'd you know, try and help them, and then get downed, and it was a circle of torment, to say the least. However, I eventually realized the doom that was befalling us, and just started, like, as soon as I could see, got a clear line of sight of the big enemy, even if they are right next to me, I just shot them with my missile launcher, instantly died. But at the very least, I also did more damage to the enemy. And eventually we killed it that way, and then I had to make a long trek to grab my loot, because when I killed it, the event ended, and because I died after the event ended, I dropped my loot, or my junk stuff that I, you know, kind of needed. And so it was a very unfortunate case of, like, well, that worked at least a little bit. And then luckily I did get my stuff, but it was kind of one of those, like, ooh, I hope no one takes all my stuff. I kind of have a lot of stuff in there, mainly because I have too much stuff. Granted, I'm also kind of getting to the point where I'm just like, yes, I need to just get rid of all this stuff. So, would have been the end of the world, but definitely would have lost some nice things. Oh yeah, so the reason Unog is insane, it gets an 8 times modifier to the life and attack. Yeah, he got 100 extra attack because there's 8 on the board. At some point I should play through Baldur's Gate 1. But every time I try and do that, I get distracted by something else, like partway through, and as such I do not finish it, because then when I get back to it, I'm like midway through the campaign and I'm just like, what should I do? I don't know. And instead of trying to figure out what I should do, I instead just go, nah, I don't feel like playing it now, which is an unfortunate case of just infinite looping of, like, ooh, I should do this thing, I know it's pretty cool, and then not doing it because I tried to start it, and then I would go like, yeah, I've done this part before, and very, very unfortunate. Oh. Yeah, but been having fun with 76. Been also having a lot of fun cooking, crafting in it. I enjoy cooking in games. It's always nice being able to have buffs going. It's like, ooh, yay. It's also kind of like me and auction houses, where if I can be trading goods with other players, I love to do that. Now, the odd thing, I really don't like to do it when it is like face to face, where it's like I have to go like, hello person, do you want to buy this / you know, post my stuff out. I was not expecting that to end up killing them all, and I just got the perfect skull drop. Because like with Warframe or Passive Exile before, I was always really nervous when it came to trading, and still am really. I had a very short period of time where it was just like I was untouchable and was just like, yeah, I got everything. I don't have to worry. All that kind of stuff. Yeah, that time has unfortunately passed me, and I am like, oh, I don't want them to be, you know, disappointed in what I have to sell, or, you know, decide to complain for no legitimate reason and have, as such, have nothing to do with me. But, you know, I'll definitely still end up feeling like, oh, I'm responsible. It is wild how anxious a brain can be for things that are usually like completely out of your control or, you know, super minor. I feel like these weren't gold, but they certainly are now. But like when it's an auction house auction house system, like in WoW or with Fallout 76, where we just put them into vending machines, and people can come to our camps and go, "Oh, sweet, that looks great," or the usual case of, "Why are you selling this?" Granted, you know, no one says anything, so no one actually hears anyone. But it is always that kind of thing of like, I feel like many people come to my store and go, why are they selling these things? Like, why at these prices? And especially in some item cases, it's like, no one will buy this. Because I just haven't cared to try and clean up that yet. But there are definitely some recipes like the Mole Man gauntlets. They drop insanely commonly. So there's no reason for someone to go out and buy them. But it is the case of like, I can easily believe people seeing them go, but why? Why are you doing this? I do enjoy being able to just get free matches every so often. Ugh. Also, allergies have not been kind to me. That is certain, and even despite the cold weather, ugh. It's been literally freezing out here lately. And so badly so that I've actually had to start wearing socks. Because I don't like how mine fit. Which is a very easy, you know, good reason to just try and get some better socks, but I am cheap. I am so cheap that I'm like, well, I don't need any more money, so I won't ask for more money. But I do. That's very much the case. I very literally do need more money. Because if I were to try and move anywhere, I need more money to do so. I can only hope that at some point I can get enough money from doing streams and such that it pays the bill. Even if it's just an electrical bill, I would be very happy with that. Okay, what else? What's that? Yeah, it's mostly just been 76 work and homework. Mana Yeah, Enog is definitely carrying their weight. I was very uncertain about them because of the 20 mana cost, but it's like, no, they do a lot. Largely it's because of the team that they're in, because normally it wouldn't be too much. Like, yeah, you get some fairy gems out with her, but like, these two alone generate a lot of fairy gems. Whew. And at times, 8 modifier is incredible. Oh, sweet. Get more. That's 147. Okay, not skull damage, it's just spell damage. I always think it's skull damage, but it's Ah, missed the skulls there. I got the skulls and they weren't even there at the start of the turn. Oh. Hopefully we'll be back on the routine, getting some streaming. Oh yeah, I almost forgot. I was also having a bit of fun with WoW. Not too much, for the very simple reason of I don't know what I want to do in WoW right now, because it's been a little while. And like, there's a bunch of things I can try and collect and all that, but I'm like, I don't really care to do that right now. Which then leaves me nothing to do. Because there's a lot of things, but I don't feel like doing any of the endless grinds in WoW. Like, I'll have fun, but I'm like, I could also have more fun 76, so it's the unfortunate case of like, I can have a lot of fun no matter the situation. Fortunately, I can only do one thing at a time. Come on. But I've been enjoying the new talents and stuff. So I really am looking forward to mess around as a healer doing the shape-shifting healing through violence. I got this through there. Oh, I used a bunch of alt keys last week because one of the Egyptian gods were up and they give 150% souls. They have a super necromancy. Oh, I've been drowning in souls. So I've been very happy about that. Okay, where are we in the campaign? Got some stuffs. That'll be nice. Oh, no, that's locked. This is okay. We're almost done with this season. Ooh, I killed enough undead, which is wonderful. These things are incredibly valuable. Like, they are wildly wonderful to have. I have another one. Nope, okay. Switch back to our normal one. And I've done all my dailies earlier today. It was quite nice. Yeah. Nice short little stream. Just wanted to pretty much get what I could for the weekly done, and as I didn't buy the entire thing because it's the no-name event week, it is a shorter day, and I don't feel like doing any more stream for tonight, because I was tempted to stream into 76, but I think I'll just take a nice cozy evening and probably look at some. But until next time, I hope you all had a wonderful time. Bye-bye.